The Great Gama is said to have gone undefeated across thousands of wrestling matches, and his daily training came down to 4 simple bodyweight movements most modern gyms have completely forgotten. Most guys past 40 think they need machines to stay strong, but these 4 exercises cover pushing, pulling, squatting, and bracing without a single weight. You don't need a gym membership or perfect joints to start. Even stiff shoulders and cranky knees won't stop you from building real strength at home. In about 6 weeks, you'll move smoother, stand taller, and feel like your body finally works again. Let's start with the Hindu push-up. If you can't get up off the floor without using your hands, you've already lost a basic ability most people don't think about until it's suddenly gone. Pushing strength isn't about bench press numbers at this age. It's about keeping your shoulders working so you can stand up from a fall, push a heavy door, or lift a suitcase into an overhead bin without wincing. That's exactly why this is the place to begin. The Hindu push-up looks like a yoga move had a baby with a push-up, and honestly, that's not far off. You start in a downward dog position with your hips high, then scoop your chest down and forward in a wave motion, drop your hips low to the ground, and press back up. Your whole spine flexes and extends while your chest and shoulders handle the load. Here's the important part. Most guys shouldn't start on the floor, because stiff shoulders and cranky wrists need a gentler angle at first. Use a kitchen counter, a solid table, or even a wall to take some of the load off your upper body. Place your hands under your shoulders, drive your hips back first, let your chest trace that low wave, and finish with your hips down near the ground. Keep your wrists stacked under your shoulders so they don't bend sideways under pressure. Move slowly enough that you feel every inch of the wave. You should feel your shoulders opening up and your chest engaging, and nothing should feel sharp or pinchy. If it does, stop, because you're not proving anything to anyone in your living room, and forcing it will only make your shoulders angrier. Work where you can breathe. From the counter, work your way to something closer to the ground over a few weeks. Eventually, you'll hit the floor. There's no rush. Aim for 10 controlled reps where every part of the wave feels smooth, your elbows stay tucked close to your ribs, and you're not dropping your hips too early just to make it easier. Here's the thing. A standard push-up or bench press locks your shoulder into one fixed path. But the Hindu push-up moves your joint through a full arc while it's under tension, and that loads your tendons at angles a fixed machine never touches. You're teaching your shoulder to stay strong and mobile at the same time, which is exactly what keeps you capable of pushing doors, lifting bags, and catching yourself if you trip as you get older. The wave motion also forces your core to fire in sequence with your upper body, which is why this one movement trains your chest, abs, hip flexors, and lower back all at once. Your whole trunk learns to work together while your arms handle the load. Think of it as a moving plank that opens your shoulders instead of crushing them. Pushing is only half the story. If you don't train your pulling muscles, your posture slowly collapses into that rounded desk worker slump. That's the job of exercise 2. Bodyweight rows are the pulling movement that reopens your chest and anchors your shoulder blades back where they belong. After years of driving, typing, and slumping on the couch, your upper back has forgotten how to hold you upright. You don't need a pull-up bar or a gym machine for this one. Find a solid table, a low counter, or the edge of your desk. Lie underneath it and grab the edge with your hands about shoulder width apart. Keep your body straight like a plank. Pull your chest up to the edge, squeeze your shoulder blades together at the top, and lower yourself back down with control. If a table row feels too heavy or your grip is shaky, bend your knees and plant your feet flat. That shortens your body and takes load off your arms so your back can actually do the work. You should feel your mid-back firing between your shoulder blades instead of your biceps doing everything. A lot of guys turn this into an arm curl by pulling with their hands instead of their shoulder blades. Don't. Think about driving your elbows back and pinching a pencil between your shoulder blades at the top of every rep. That's where the posture magic happens. If you only have a high table available, you can still make it work by walking your feet out farther so your body hangs at a steeper angle. The closer your body is to parallel with the floor, the harder the row becomes. Experiment with foot position until the last 2 reps feel challenging, but your form stays clean. A good test is whether you can pause for 1 second at the top of every rep with your chest touching the edge. If you can't, your surface is probably too low or your angle is too steep. Start with 8 to 10 controlled reps and build toward 10 to 15 over the next few weeks. Once table rows feel easy, straighten your legs so your body is longer and heavier, or find something closer to the ground to increase the angle. The goal is a back that holds you open and shoulders that sit back without you constantly reminding yourself to stand up straight. Here's why rows matter as you age. Research ties pulling and grip strength to the ability to perform daily tasks and stay self-sufficient. When your upper back is strong, your spine stacks properly and your lower back stops compensating for sloppy posture. Fixing your posture is just a side effect. You're building the pulling strength that protects your spine every time you bend over to grab groceries, lift your grandkid, or haul yourself up from a low car seat. Upper body is covered. Now for the movement that has more to say about your future than almost anything else you can train. That's exercise 3. Hindu squats were the leg builder of choice for Indian wrestlers for centuries. The great Gama we mentioned earlier reportedly performed thousands of these every single day, and it always made me wonder what exactly they were doing for his legs. Here's what makes them different from the squats you see in modern gyms. Hindu squats use a rhythmic, continuous motion where your knees travel forward over your toes, your heels lift slightly at the bottom, and your arms swing back on the way down and forward on the way up. The whole movement builds leg endurance, ankle mobility, and knee resilience in a way that standard barbell squats simply don't touch. But here's the problem. If your knees are cranky, you can't just drop into deep reps on day one. You have to earn the depth over time. Start with shallow Hindu squats, where you only bend your knees partway, keep your back straight, and let your arms swing gently for balance. Your weight stays on the balls of your feet, and you never drop down fast. The arm swing serves a real purpose. It helps you find a rhythm and take some load off your legs when you're starting out. As you get stronger, the arms still swing, but the legs do more of the real work. The whole squat should feel controlled, almost meditative. Count a slow 2 seconds on the way down and 1 second on the way up so you don't rush the rhythm. Your fingertips might brush the ground at the bottom if your mobility allows, but don't force it. If your knees send a sharp signal, stay higher. Depth is something you build over weeks, not something you demand on the first session, so let it change from day to day and adjust as your knees tell you. Work toward 25 controlled reps at your current depth, then add a few more each week until you can hit 50. Once shallow reps feel smooth and pain-free, let your hips sink a little lower and trust your knees to adapt. Some days they'll feel great and you can go deeper. Other days you'll stay higher, and that's completely normal when you're rebuilding strength. The goal isn't to impress anyone with depth. It's building legs that can carry you upstairs, out of chairs, and across uneven ground without hesitation. Here's why this matters more than biceps or chest. Clinical research shows that how easily you stand up from a chair is one of the strongest predictors of physical independence in later life. And resistance training that targets the quadriceps, hamstrings, and glutes is now a first-line recommendation for age-related muscle loss. When your quads, glutes, and calves stay strong, you're buying yourself decades of moving on your own terms. Strong legs are the foundation everything else sits on. You've got push, pull, and legs. But strength without bracing is like a house without a foundation. The last exercise holds everything together. Horse stance comes from Chinese martial arts and karate, and it has been used for centuries to build the kind of leg and core endurance that doesn't quit when fatigue sets in. It looks like a wide squat hold, but the real work happens in the stillness. Most guys skip static holds because they look boring, and that's exactly why their core folds the moment real fatigue hits. Take a big step out to each side and turn your toes outward about 45 degrees. Rest your hands on your knees for feedback, bend your legs, and sink down until you find an honest depth that challenges you without sharp knee pain. Push your knees outward, keep your chest up, and tuck your hips under your shoulders so your spine stays straight. You're not sitting back and relaxing. You're actively pressing your legs outward and bracing your core like someone might shove you. If your butt sticks out or your lower back arches, you're probably too deep for your current mobility. Stand up a bit until you can pull your hips underneath you and find that straight line from hips to shoulders. Squeeze your glutes and keep your knees tracking over your toes without caving inward. Discomfort in the muscles is fine. Sharp joint pain means you need to stand higher. Start with 20 to 30 seconds and build toward 45 to 60 over the next few weeks. The beauty of this hold is that you can drop into it while brushing your teeth, waiting for coffee, or watching the news. You're not setting aside workout time. You're accumulating strength while you live your life. One well-known movement coach rebuilt his own knee strength this way after an injury, and it worked because he respected his current depth every single day. If you want to make it harder without changing depth, lift your hands off your knees and hold them in front of your chest. Removing that support forces your core and inner thighs to work harder to keep you upright. It's a simple tweak that makes the hold feel completely different. Breathing matters more than most people think. If you hold your breath, your core will cramp and your blood pressure will spike. Breathe slowly and steadily through your nose, keeping your ribs expanded and your belly gently braced. The horse stance is as much a mental exercise as a physical one, and your breath is what keeps you calm when your legs start shaking. Here's the science behind why stillness works. Research on isometric training suggests that holding positions under tension builds tendon stiffness and joint resilience in a way constant movement doesn't, strengthening the muscles around your joints and improving the stability that keeps your spine safe under load. When your core and hips learn to stay braced, everyday movements like lifting a laundry basket or catching yourself on uneven ground become safer without you even thinking about them. That's all four. Here's how to actually use them. Train 2 to 3 times per week for 20 to 30 minutes. Run through Hindu push-ups, bodyweight rows, Hindu squats, and horse stance holds in that order. Start with 1 or 2 rounds and add another round each week as your stamina improves. Over the next 4 to 6 weeks, work toward 10 controlled Hindu push-ups, 10 to 15 bodyweight rows, 25 to 50 Hindu squats, and a 45 to 60-second horse stance hold. Rest as needed between exercises, but keep moving. The point is building consistent tension and better movement, not chasing exhaustion. 4 old-school bodyweight movements. Practice consistently with the right progressions. Rebuild the strength and resilience that actually matter as the years add up. If you want the exact week-by-week plans that turn these movements into a body that feels decades younger, I've put everything into a set of life-changing ebooks, and the links are waiting in the description right now. They lay out every progression, every rep target, and every small tweak so you're never guessing your way through a session. Tap the link, start today, and give your future self the strong, capable body you've been promising for years.